Well, I am at the Bruceport Park and Campground just outside of Raymond, Washington. And this park sits on the Willapa Bay. Now, it's mostly just a campground. There is a small day use area and a trail that leads down to the water. The prices are pretty reasonable in the campground, so I did stay here last night. So this portion of the Washington coast, primarily between Aberdeen and the Oregon border, I've never actually been to before. So we're gonna check this out. So like I said, starting out here at the Bruceport Park, and I'm on this trail which leads down to the water. So we'll check that out and we'll start moving towards the Oregon border. So here we go. Well, here we are on the Willapa Bay, and it looks like we're a little bit of a lower tide, but the tide is coming in now. So I'm going to walk down this way on the water, and we'll keep moving. Well, the vegetation around here and the geography is pretty unique. It's not something that I've seen a whole lot of. Well, with all these down trees, even though the tide is out, that ground is pretty mushy, so I didn't get to go down as far as I would have liked to. So I'm back up at the campground, and campground portion of the park sits above a pretty steep drop off, and some of the campsites have a pretty good view. So we'll look around a little bit. I got a few other things I got to clean up, and then we'll get on the road. So the day use area got pretty busy when I was there with a bunch of families, but this is one of the shelters that's in the day use area. So I'm just down the road from the Bruceport Park and Campground on Highway 101. There used to be a historical marker at this location, but it seems to have gotten destroyed. Pulled over anyways to enjoy the view. So I'm a ways down on Highway 101, and this is the Phalanx River, and there's this DNR boat ramp. And I got here just in time. The DNR launched this fan boat as I was there. This ended up being a quick stop. I've just turned off Highway 101, and this river I think is the Phalanx River. So this road that I'm on leads out to Bay City, and that planned on being my next stop. All right, I'm at Bush County Park. It's a couple miles off Highway 101. It's right next to the town of Bay Center, and I'm on this little path. I think it will lead down to the water, so we'll check that out, and then I'm going to check out the town of Bay Center. Well, I'm down at the water, and the tide's pretty far out, but this is still part of Willapa Bay, and of course it's clouded in a little bit, so it's hard to see. Try to walk around a bit. This sandy area gets pretty mucky. All right, I'm headed back now, and as I expected, it sunk in pretty good in some spots. I've left the park now, and I'm walking into the town of Bay Center. You'll see in this area of Washington they do a ton of oyster farming, and it seemed like the majority of the businesses in this town were related to oysters. So I'm at the edge of Bay City. This place is very tiny. Alright, I'm just outside of Bay Center. I was driving to the next spot, and there's this awesome view of the Willapa Bay, so I pulled over to get a better look at it. Alright, next up we got the Willapa National Wildlife Refuge. And there's this art trail that's about 1/4 of a mile, which leads to the Cutthroat Climb Trail, which is about 2/3 of a mile. So we'll do the whole thing, and then we'll go out by the water. So this is the start of the Cutthroat Climb Trail, and right off the bat it starts with a pretty significant climb, becomes more of a hiking trail. This is something that I've never seen before and seems quite inefficient. They built the staircase over this down log rather than just cutting it off the trail. Alright, I made it back to the trailhead. Now there is a boat launch across the street, but I'm going to take a look at this map first before we head over there. So here's the boat launch, and then across the water is Lost Island. It's part of the wildlife refuge. And I think they do have a few camp spots and trails over there. There is a boat ramp somewhere on the island, but just for small watercraft. So I'm going to head out here in a moment, and I'm going to head to another section of the Willapa National Wildlife Refuge. So this area of the park is the Porter Point. It's also where the Willapa National Wildlife Refuge headquarters is. So they have more detailed maps here. The section of the refuge that I was at previously, where the art trail was, is the East Hills unit. This service road that I'm on, I believe, is part of the Porter Point Loop Trail, which is 2.4 miles round trip. I think somewhere up this road there's a boat ramp, so I'm not going to do the whole loop, but I'll probably just walk out to the boat ramp. Alright, we'll come to this junction in the road, and off to the right you can take the Porter Point Loop Trail, and then off to the left is the Porter Slough Trail, which I'm going to head out to the boat launch. Well, this is the boat launch. It's really mostly for kayaks and canoes and maybe some small boats. But I think I'm actually going to keep going on the Porter Slough Trail. This boat ramp's a lot closer to the trailhead than I thought, so here we go. Alright, I've reached the end of this marshy, tidal flat area. The service road does continue, but I'm going to call this my turnaround spot. So I'm wrapping up this video here. There's so much to see and do in the southern Washington coast, more than I anticipated. So here's a sneak peek of some of it, but we'll save that for another video. So I want to thank you for watching this video.